When you talk about Yusuf alayhi salam, how many of you have ever heard that you should read Surah Yusuf when you're sad? How many of you have heard that before? Do you know where we get that from? I actually believe that it is a sunnah to read Surah Yusuf when you're sad. Even though the Prophet ﷺ did not tell us when you're sad, there isn't necessarily a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ explicitly says, when you're sad, read Surah Yusuf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Surah Yusuf to the Prophet ﷺ in the worst year of his life, Aam al-Huzn. In Aam al-Huzn, which was the year of grief. And I want you to think about this. He's boycotted. He's been run out. He's a fugitive. His wife is dead. His uncle is dead. And not only that, he's being told sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he is the reason why they're dead. That it was this message that you brought, this thing that was not known to the Arabs before that you brought to us, that killed your wife and killed your uncle. You know that emotional guilt, subhanallah, is far greater than any sort of pain that you could actually experience by losing someone. Being told that you did it, that you are the cause of their deaths. He goes out sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Ta'if and he's rejected in Ta'if with the worst rejection that he has ever faced. And he faces the worst day of his life when he is completely turned away. So he is facing dead ends in every single aspect of life, and Allah reveals to him Surah Yusuf to comfort him. And so it's a sunnah for us as well to go to this magnificent surah when we find ourselves in huzn, when we find ourselves in grief, and to reflect.
The story of Yusuf alayhi salam is very powerful. First of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dedicated a whole surah in the Quran for Surah Yusuf. There's nothing in the Quran that is exclusively, there's no surah in the Quran that's exclusively for one complete story. And the story of Yusuf occurs only in Surah Yusuf as a story. That's the only time it occurs. Whereas if you look at the story of Musa alayhi salam, it's all over the Quran in so many other surahs. And the story of Isa alayhi salam, the same in so many other surahs. So there is something special about Surah Yusuf. So the story of Yusuf alayhi salam is very powerful in the sense that it relates to the life of every one of us. Every one of us. And Yusuf alayhi salam went through a lot of traumas in his life, but he was not traumatized. And he went through a lot of challenging circumstances, and instead of being broken down, he actually grew. He grew. And when everything seemed to be against him, the reality of affairs turned out to be for him. So things were happening for him, not to him. Not to him. And there are secrets why this is happening. There are secrets why this is happening. Surah Yusuf teaches us 3 secrets. 3 secrets are the basic tools with which you can handle any situation in life. Literally. So Yusuf alayhi salam, you will find through all the circumstances and the events that Yusuf alayhi salam went through, he was actually achieving these things by means of 3 tools that we're going to share. And these are the secret of Yusuf alayhi salam. Just in brief. First, he was taken away from his father. By who? His own brothers. They conspired against him. They took him. They threw him in the well. They deceived his father. They played a game. He was left in the well. Then he was taken out of the well and he was sold as a slave. So from the son of a prophet who was promised prophethood into a slave. So he's taken by that caravan and he's sold in the slave market in Egypt. Not only a free man, but a prophet, or someone who's promised to be a prophet. And now he goes down into this cascade of negative events to the point where he loses his freedom, he loses himself. Slave means you don't own yourself, someone else owns you. He's taken to the house of Al-Aziz. Al-Aziz, sort of a minister in Egypt, a very important, influential person in Egypt, Al-Aziz. So he's taken, and he's still young. So he grows in this house as a servant and as a slave, who has no say, who has no choice. He just has to obey and do whatever he's commanded. Then when he becomes an adult, he's offered such a difficult and trying fitna. And what is it? The wife of his own master, who's also his master. She is his master. She commands him, he has to obey. She develops this affection and this love towards him, this physical attraction. She sets him up in a way, she invites him for fahisha, for zina. What does she do? She closes all doors and windows. She says, here you go. He's supposed to obey, he has no say. There's a power imbalance. It's not like, oh, no, I don't feel like it. Oh, I don't want to do that. No, you're my slave. You don't even have a choice. You can't even express yourself in this point. She commanded him, go ahead now. Still with this power imbalance, Yusuf alayhi salam, he's connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's connected to Allah. So he says, Ma'ad Allah. He says, I seek refuge in Allah. Innahu Rabbi ahsana mathwaya. Allah has been good to me. Allah has been good to me. I'm not going to violate the laws and the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he realizes that if he stays in that position, there will be a temptation. There will be the temptation of being a man, presented with a woman who calls him to himself. The temptation of him having less power in front of her. and the pressure that she could exercise on him, all of this was a temptation. So he decided to get himself out of that. He rushes to the door, he finds his master by the door. Straight away she's caught now. She wants to free herself, she wants to pass the buck. She says, he was trying to rape me. He was trying to rape me. So he's accused falsely now. Yusuf a.s. speaks up for himself. And he says, no, it was her. So they call upon someone from her family, a wise man, let's find out, investigate what happened. And he said, they found out basically it was her mistake because his shirt was ripped from behind. So she was chasing him. But they said, don't expose that, don't talk about that. This is the wife of this influential man, the wife of the minister. It's a political, slander now, there's issues. No, keep quiet about this. Yusuf a.s., don't open your mouth. Then she's not done with him. She decides to take it on him, to take revenge. So she sets him up in the presence of other women because they were talking about her. The news seeped out into people. They started saying, oh, she is interested in her slave boy. This is the wife of Al-Aziz. Now, she said, and some women are very intelligent. They know how to stage things. So she decided to set them up together, Yusuf and the women. So she gets out of it. So she brings them, she offers them, they were preparing some food, they were using a knife to cut some stuff. She commands Yusuf to walk in front of them. He walks past them, they're taken by his beauty. So he was extremely handsome, so they saw him, they couldn't, they were taken by his beauty. So they were cutting some vegetables or whatever, they ended up cutting their own hands, their own fingers. And because of that, of their beauty, they were taken by the beauty, they didn't feel the pain. And by the way, this is a human experience. It's not unique to them. Literally, when our attention is taken by something, we can actually stop feeling the pain. And this is what they call pain suppression, by the way. And now, they were talking about the wife of Al-Aziz. They are trapped and taken by the beauty of Yusuf. They are trapped now. So the news started spreading about them. They turned it against Yusuf that he's trying to, attract women. He's trying to set women up. So they said the only way to, deal with the situation is to get him convicted. If he's found guilty in the court, that means, yarhamukallah, if he's found guilty in the court, that means it's his mistake. All the other stuff is rumors. It's untrue. That's how they conspire against Yusuf, and they send him to prison. Yusuf a.s., he was saying, oh Allah, I prefer the prison to being in this fitna and trial. So he goes to the prison. So Yusuf a.s., when he enters the prison, there are two other people. When they see him, they see the beautiful face. Not only the handsomeness of him, but the righteousness, the beauty, the piety, the sincerity. You can tell. This is not a liar. This is not a dodgy person. Straight away, they assume this is must be a man of knowledge. He must be wise. So they narrated their dreams to him. One of them said, Inni arani a'siru khamra. I saw myself making wine. The other one said, Inni arani ahmilu fawqa ra'si khubzan ta'kulu at-tayru minhu. I saw myself in my dream having bread over my head and birds are eating from that bread. Yusuf a.s. understood with the interpretation of the dream. Don't forget, his first dream was interpreted by his father, and this was a promise of his prophethood. So before telling them about the dream, since these people are interested, he decides to tell them about something more important than their dreams. About Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Since they're open-minded, they're willing to listen to him, now it's time to tell them about Allah. Because these people don't worship Allah, they associate partners with Allah. So he starts telling them about Allah, that He's the only one who has the right to be worshipped. He's the creator, the designer of the universe, of everything. And we should worship Him, He's alone, we don't associate partners with Him. So Yusuf a.s., after this he interprets the dreams for them, and he says one of you obviously will be crucified, then birds will eat his body. The second one he said, you will serve the king. And then he told him, remember me. And that shows as well, when you can use something, use a means to get somewhere, use it. Nothing wrong with that. You're putting your trust in Allah doesn't mean you do what you are supposed to do. You wanted to get your rizq doesn't mean you don't study, you don't get a profession, you don't get skills, you don't apply for jobs, or you don't make your own business. No, you have to do it. This is how the world works. Trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means you put in the work. But if you're not putting in the work, you're not trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're just fooling yourself. So then Yusuf a.s., the man forgets, and Yusuf a.s. stays in the prison. For so long. Then when the king has the dream, the guy remembers, he calls upon Yusuf, he gets the interpretation. Yusuf gives not only an interpretation, but a solution. Now with this solution, the king says, I want him for me. I want to see this guy. He refuses. He says, you need to clear me of the charges. I stand for myself. I stand up for myself. Clear me first of the charges. So they investigate, they clear him of the charges. He grows in the eyes of the king. This man is not so desperate to get out of prison. He's not so desperate to be close to the king. He's a man of principle. He's a man of principles. Yusuf, he's offered, I want you to be close. The king says, I want you to be one of my assistants. He asks for a position. He says, "Ij'alni ala khaza'in al-ard." Give me the treasury. Sort of minister of finance. Give me that position. Inni hafidhun alim. I am I'm a trustworthy person, hafidh, alim, and I have the skills and the knowledge. Isn't that self-promotion? Nothing wrong with that. If it's true, and you deserve that position, and you can actually do a very good job there, you should actually speak for yourself. Yes. But don't lie. So he starts designing the whole financial system in a way to deal with the famine that was coming after that. 7 years. Then he deals with all of this. Then Allah brings his brothers to ask for help because they were in a drought. Yusuf and Egypt were ready for that. So now he has the power over his brothers. It ends up basically with his father and mother coming to Egypt, and then his dream becoming true when they all prostrate themselves before him, because at their time prostration was okay, was a sign of respect. But in our Sharia in Islam, it's haram, it's shirk. You only prostrate before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yusuf alayhi salam, throughout the process, he maintained three things. And that's, these three things are available to every one of us. And they're quite simple, they're quite easy. You will find Yusuf alayhi salam, first of all, is thankful throughout the way. ذلك من فضل الله علينا وعلى الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يشكرون. This is from the great blessings of Allah upon us, but most people are unthankful, ungrateful. And he says, رب قد آتيتني من الملك وعلمتني من تأويل الأحاديث فاطر السماوات. He says, oh Allah, you have taught me so much, and you have given me so much power and position. So he's thankful to Allah. Every time he's thankful. Why? Because he's been thankful. He's always thankful. Even the hardship is thankful for him. He's thankful in the hardship. This takes me to the second one. He's thankful when there's a blessing. Number two, when there is hardship and predicament, he's patient. No complaint in the whole surah. Yusuf doesn't complain. He doesn't even say to Allah, oh Allah, take these women. Why did you bring these women into my life to give me so much trouble? He didn't say that. He said, oh Allah, I prefer prison to these women. He didn't even object to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is his politeness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's patience. Shukr, sabr, and the third one was what? Taqwa. This is why when his brothers asked him, they said to him, they said, Tallahi laqad atharaka Allahu alayna wa in kunna lakhati'in. Allah has favored you up over us. When they figured out that Al-Aziz was Yusuf, and he has all this power, and this is the guy we got rid of, we thought he was dead, and now he is the Minister of Finance, and he controls the country. He says to them, whoever has taqwa and patience, Allah will never waste the efforts of the muhsineen. So these three themes are so powerful in Surah Yusuf. When there is hardship and challenges in your life, you need patience. Hold on to patience, beautiful patience. When there is blessings and ease, you are thankful, shukr. When there is obligations, you have taqwa. So do what you are commanded, be thankful for the blessings, be patient with the calamities and the hardships, and life would start working for you.